All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him on. Let's welcome Alex Charfen himself. Make some noise.
Chad, thanks for having me, man.
What's going on, Alex? Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time here today. I'm super excited to hear your presentation as well as many others that are here live. We have hundreds of people from all over the world that are interested in trying to figure out how to actually grow their business. And I know you're the man who's going to tell them exactly how to do that. So guys, can we say Alex in the chat? Let's give him a quick welcome. Say, hey, Alex. Is that all we got?
Oh, that's awesome,
say,
man.
Hey, Alex.
I just want everyone to know that means a lot to me. Like, for me to be excited about an audience, I have to actually know you're there. So Chad, I appreciate you warming them up for me. I hope everybody loved Angela. She's a close friend of mine. I actually recommended her for this event.
Yes.
I went through her book writing process. It is amazing. So I'm excited for everybody.
Love it, man.
Dude.
So what I'm going to do, Alex, without further ado, I'm going to let you take the stage. I'll be here. I got you in my earpiece here. If you need anything, let us know. And then I'll be back right when you're done. Let's give it up for Alex. Guys, make some noise. Make some noise.
Thanks, Chad. Really appreciate you, man. And I'm so excited to be here with everybody. I'm going to actually get our presentation pulled up. It was made extremely clear to me that I have 45 minutes. And if I go over, they're just going to cut me off and I don't get to talk anymore. So I'm in a hurry here to give you guys as much value as I possibly can. Like, give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I can see the chat. So here's the deal. I'll try and answer some questions at the end. If for any reason you've got a question that doesn't get answered, I'll answer questions in my Facebook group, or if you make a post, I'll answer questions. And if this presentation means something for you or something to you and you make a post on social media, tag me. I like to see that stuff. Sometimes I go on Facebook or Instagram and I see places where people have talked about my presentation. They didn't tag me. And then I ask why, and they say like they were embarrassed or they didn't know if they could. I want all of you to know you have free reign, 100% authorization to please tag me. I want to see what you guys have to say and what you think about this. So man, the chat is just awesome. I love it when it starts going so fast that it looks like it's broken. So let's do this. I have this belief entrepreneurs are the most consistent. See, we used to say only. Now we say most consistent source of positive human evolution, and we always will be. How many of you agree that like entrepreneurs build the world around us? We are the most consistent source of positive human evolution. We always will be. And it's so important right now, especially with what we've got going on in the world today. That's why I've been so excited to be here, because here's how I look at what we're doing here right now. DashClicks, this event. We have hundreds of agencies from around the world. And what do agencies do? They help amplify businesses' reach. Every one of you is an amplification agent. Every one of you is a sales agent. Every one of you is a commerce agent. So every one of you has the power to help repair the US and then the world economy by making business happen. So let's get crazy. Like, let's go and sell a ton. Let's do more business than anybody ever thought we could. Today, I'm here to show you how. Now, if you haven't heard of me before, I have a podcast called the Momentum Podcast. Love to have you as a listener. It's short, 15, 20-minute podcast, and each podcast solves a problem. We've had some pretty cool stuff happen with the podcast. In fact, we've got over 2 million downloads this morning. Hey, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it, man. Chad said the podcast is awesome. This morning, I just checked. My daughter was in here. Kennedy and I were talking about it. We pulled up Libs and we're at 2.2 million downloads. So we haven't updated it since this last time. We're still in 101 countries. Check this out. I was looking at the country listing this morning. We're all over the place. Like, there is some crazy person in Mozambique listening to us, or Barbados, or Latvia. There's even like countries on here I didn't know were countries. And I just want you to see anonymous proxy. Like, out of all the countries in the world, which one has an anonymous proxy? The proxy? That's right. North Korea is listening to my podcast. So even Kim Jong-un is a listener of the podcast, which is super exciting. Okay, good. Some of you got that joke. I did that at a different event with a smaller group and nobody got it. All right, I'm glad you get the Kim Jong-un joke. So a little bit about me, just so you know who you're listening to for the next 40 minutes. This is me with my daughters. Kennedy's on the left, Reagan's on the right. And then this is our family. This is me and Katie. We run our business together. The picture on the left was like an anomaly. We get like 1 out of 100 that look like that. Most of the family pictures we take look like the one on the right. I don't know if you guys have that same issue as well. Now, I want you to just know something. Throughout this presentation, you're going to want to take notes. Like I highly encourage you to not be taking notes on your screen. Take out a pen, take out a piece of paper. I want some stuff to stick for you. I will even say, hey, if you're writing stuff down, write this down. It will change your career as an entrepreneur. But I'm also going to present to you this billionaire code, the entire route that you're going to take, the guide for how you go from 0 to $100 million agency. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a link where you can download it. You don't have to write the whole thing down. It's funny, when I do this presentations and people have their camera or their microphones on, I can hear them taking pictures of every screen. You don't need to do that. I'm going to give it to you on the way. Richard says, great name, great presidents, great name, great speakers. That's like, I'm a public speaker. Reagan, Kennedy, amazing public speakers. I wanted my girls to have names that meant something. Somebody told me like, oh, but those are going to be the president's name. I told them very clearly, after my girls have it, it will be their name. Now, let's get this started. And I want, just right here at the beginning of this presentation, I want to do some qualifying. I want you guys all, for those of you who have heard me and those of you who haven't heard me, to see like if you're ready for this presentation. And I want to qualify you to see if you're potentially one of our clients. I know that's kind of selfish. I do this every single time I speak. I'm always saying like, hey, let me self-qualify you as my avatar so you know where to come for help. But at the same time, I think you're going to learn something here. See, when I look at the world, when I look at human beings, the entire tribe of humans, I see 4 different types of people. And the goal of the next 5 minutes here is for you to qualify what type of person you are in the world. This is going to give you insight into how you behave. This is going to give you insight as to what you want to do in the world. This is also going to probably tell you why you're here on this call. So let's get started. Of the 4 types of people in the world, the first one, the one that is probably the most prevalent, is the caretaker. Now, the caretaker is the personality that loves taking care of other people. And they love to be there for other people. Now, here's what's interesting. When I go out and speak to entrepreneurs, they often, when I say, how many of you think you're a caretaker? I get a lot of hands that go up. Like, how many of you think you're a caretaker? Put it in the chat, because a lot of us actually do like to take care of other people. Paul Williams just says no. Nico says, Alicia says me. So check this out. For each of these 4, I have a qualification question. So in this case, and I want everyone to hear the qualification question, do you enjoy changing bedpans? Now, all of you who said you're a caretaker, John, JB, Chad says, laughing my ass off. Nikos, how many of you enjoy changing bedpans? Now, here's why. Now, Nikos says guilty. All right, you know what? Here's what's awesome about having Nikos here. There are people in the world who actually enjoy changing bedpans. For real. Like, Katie was in the hospital last year. It was pretty serious. She had a really bad kidney stone, got septic. She was there overnight. It was horrible. I was there the second day that she was in the hospital, and this woman came in to like change beds and do that kind of stuff. And yes, I did say bedpans, Alicia. Bedpans, like being a caretaker is changing bedpans. So check this out. Katie was in the hospital. This woman came in, started changing sheets, not actually changing a bedpan, but she was changing sheets, cleaning up. She got some stuff for Katie, changed her IV. And as she was doing it, I said, hey, do you enjoy what you do? Do you like all of this stuff that you're doing? Do you enjoy changing bedpans? I always throw that in when I'm talking to a caretaker. And here's the answer I've gotten. I've gotten it multiple times from people who are caretakers. She turned to me and she said, Alex, if that bedpan needed changing and I'm here to help somebody, and I will be fulfilled. So I want to do it. I'm like, holy cow, if I end up changing bedpan, I feel like I'm in the wrong place. So let's move on. You're probably not a caretaker. Let's look at the second one. The second group of people in the world is the communicators. Communicators like the act of talking to people, sharing information, telling people stuff. Communicators they carry on oral tradition. Like in our evolutionary tribe, we needed the caretaker to take care of people. The communicator would tell people what was going on. So how many of you believe you're a communicator? Now, before you answer, let me give you the qualification question. Do you enjoy small talk? How many of you enjoy small talk? Now, if we were live and somebody said yes, I would actually pull Alicia up right now, because here's how I qualify small talk. You put 2 communicators at a water cooler. 2 communicators at a water cooler will talk for 45 minutes about a 30-minute TV show. Communicators like the act of communicating. Here's what's interesting. For most of you who might think you're a communicator, what you really like is the act of communicating with an outcome. Whenever I'm at an event like this and somebody says, oh, I like small talk, I say, why do you like small talk? Oh, because I get to know somebody. Why do you like to know somebody? Well, because then I can see if I can help them. Oh, so why do you like to help them? Well, because I'm an entrepreneur and I really like to help people. I like to find out about them. Oh, so you really don't like small talk. What you want to do is get to an outcome. So my guess is there's not going to be a lot of people here who are communicators. Man, I'm going to have a hard time following this chat. It's going too fast. I'm just going to keep going. So if you're not a communicator, not a coordinator, the third type of person is, or sorry, not a coordinator, not a communicator, not a caretaker, not a communicator. The third one is coordinator. Jeez, I'm having a problem with the C words today. So coordinators are the type of people in the world that like to coordinate. They like red tape. They like organization. They like contracts, not because there's a deal, but because there's a contract. Now, when I say how many entrepreneurs think they're coordinators, very few hands go up. And the qualification, there's one, Michelle, the qualification question for coordinator, check this out. You might think you have tendencies, you might not actually be a communicator. I want to see Yanaki and let's see here, Angela. The qualification question is, do you enjoy being on committees? See, coordinators love committees. They love the bureaucracy of the committee. They love I want to call this committee to order. They love committees. So while you may have coordinator tendencies, you probably are not a coordinator if you don't love committees. So now let's just see, we're in this evolutionary tribe, right? There's 4 types of people. The last one is the one that's left. So we have the people who communicate. We have the people who take care of other people. We have the people who coordinate. Who is missing? What is missing in our evolutionary tribe? The caretaker, so somebody said the doers. Who else? The consumer, the doers, the CEO, the instigators. Here's what I believe is missing from this picture. The evolutionary hunter. See, if you haven't answered yes to any of these 3, let's try this on for size. The last group of people are the small percentage of the population that get up every day, look around, challenge the status quo. And as evolutionary hunters, what do? We keep the human tribe alive. We do that by going into the future, creating a new reality, coming back to the present and demanding it becomes real. How many of you are familiar with that? The evolutionary hunter is the driving force behind humanity. And while caretakers, coordinators, and communicators, they work in the present, they work in the status quo, the evolutionary hunter creates the status quo and goes out and makes the world. And the qualification question for evolutionary hunter, are you all ready for this? Can you turn it off? How many of you are laughing right now saying, not a chance? See, the first answer says, ha ha. Of course you can't turn it off. We're that small percentage of the population that is programmed to get up every day and keep the human tribe alive. So if you can't turn it off, you are an evolutionary hunter. And I have people tell me all the time, well, isn't that how the rest of people are? No. The rest of the people can turn it off. Like the rest of the people call in sick. How many of you have ever called in sick on yourselves? The rest of the people are waiting for retirement. When I was in my early 30s, I retired. It was the worst 6 weeks of my life. The rest of the people watch shows like Ice Road Truckers. I just want you to know that's an hour-long show about people driving trucks on ice. I can't even fathom it. And so we are different than the rest of the world. We can't turn it off. We need to be moving forward, making things happen with the world following in our wake. When I put this word up here, momentum, how many of you feel it, not just read it? It's part of who you are, and you know it is. See, I believe, Peter O'Neill says, I love Ice Road Truckers. Peter, if you're in a state where weed is legal and that is good for you, then that's awesome. Just kidding, teasing, kind of. At least it would give you an excuse to watch the show. So let's just keep going. So as entrepreneurs, we are driven by momentum. This is how the world works for us. We want to be moving forward, making things happen, the world following in our wake, making an impact, making an income, doing what we do. And the interesting thing about entrepreneurs with momentum is this. When we are in momentum, here's what I know about us. We are physiologically, cognitively, and chemically boosted. Let me explain what that means. When you're in momentum, do you have more stamina? I know I do. It's real. When I'm in momentum, I actually think more clearly. I make decisions faster. It's easier for me to see the future. When I'm in momentum, by the way, I feel the chemical high of momentum. Kim Morgan, thank you. I appreciate it. How many of you know that chemical high of momentum? that feeling of like you own it all. The world is yours. You can make things happen. I mean, I get up every day. I go through a written morning routine. I do everything I can to get into this place of momentum because that's where I want to live. You know, the rest of the world says things like you can get in the zone or be in flow, but it's temporary. It's not where we really spend time. Are you kidding me? This is where entrepreneurs throughout history have lived. And I want you to understand just how much momentum means for us, because when I show you the Billionaire Code, here's what I want you to see, is that when we make the right decisions, when we apply ourselves to the right things, we can stay in momentum ongoing. This does not have to be temporary, but I want you to know something first. There are 3 stages of momentum, 3 states of momentum. The first one I already talked about, it's in momentum. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like that feeling of everything's going the right way, that feeling of being boosted, that feeling of making things happen. As I talk about it, I get goosebumps because I love that feeling so much. Now, the second state I haven't talked about. The second state is facing resistance. Facing resistance is when you might not have everything that you need and the world is coming at you and you don't have all the stuff you need. You don't have all the money or the time, or you don't have the experience, and people around you are like, hey, what are you doing? But you can see this tiny little light at the end of the tunnel and you believe in that light and you compel it towards you and you do what you need to compel yourself towards it. And the people in your life might even be saying, hey, that light at the end of the tunnel is a train. Get out of there. But you ignore them. You focus on the light. You go towards it, you bring it towards you, you step through that light, and that is where you become who you are. How many of you know that movie? How many of you have had that story in your lives? I know I have. See, when we're in momentum, we make more. When we're facing resistance, we get into momentum. Now, the third state that I want you all to understand is when we're in constraint. When we as entrepreneurs are held in place, when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, when we don't know what's coming next. You know what I'm talking about? That feeling of constraint. How fast is it that you physically break down? When I feel constraint, when I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, in minutes, I am fatigued. I don't want to do anything. I'm frustrated. That's what, just like Lisa said, it's instant. Cognitively, when I'm in that feeling of constraint, I have trouble thinking. I have trouble remembering things. I mean, I will look at somebody I know, I can't remember their name. Constraint, like it literally acts almost as a defect. And when I am in constraint, here's what I know. Kyle, if you're feeling constraint right now, man, stick with me. We're going to get you out of it by the end of this presentation. When you're in constraint, you feel the chemical depression of constraint. And I bring this up because I want us all to know that this is who we are. The entrepreneurial personality type, every one of you who said yes to Evolutionary Hunter, we are physiologically sensitive, momentum-based beings who are highly reactive to constraint. How many of you feel that? You know, it's so funny. When I signed on, what did Chad say? Do some jumping jacks, move around physically, get your body moving. Why do we say that? Because we all intuitively know this, that we are physiologically sensitive, momentum-based beings that are highly reactive to constraint. This is who we are. And the faster you adopt this and own it and understand that we are momentum-based, that is who we are. When we are out of momentum, we are not ourselves. And here's what I can tell you about being out of momentum and being in it. When I go out and speak to entrepreneurs and I ask, what does it feel like to be in momentum? I get all kinds of answers. When I'm in California, I get drug answers like it feels high and euphoric and crazy. When I'm in the Midwest, I get really polite answers like it feels nice and it feels good. When I'm in New York, I get some fucking awesome, incredible type answers. But you know what somebody says sooner or later? It feels like it's alive. Being in momentum is when I feel alive. And here's the other side of that. When we are in constraint, we literally feel like we're dying. That's how important and how serious this is for the entrepreneurial personality type. When we get into constraint and the pressure and noise goes up in our lives, it makes us feel like we can't do anything. So the faster we can get out of it, the better. And that's what I want to show you today, because here's what I believe about every person on this call. And here's what I know about Chad and everybody who put together DashClicks is that should I just said it wrong, didn't I? Is it that? Hey, give me the name of the company, somebody. I think I just said it wrong. Yeah, okay, DashClicks. Shit, Chad. I for some reason, I was talking myself out of it. Okay, cool. Here's what I know about Chad and everybody else at DashClicks. They are experiencing this like crazy. Can you confirm, Chad? Over time, isn't your desire to make a contribution going up like crazy? But here's what happens to us as entrepreneurs. Our desire to make a contribution goes up every single day. We call it the call of contribution. It gets louder on a daily basis. But the infrastructure we have in our life, The people we have around us, the processes we have around us, the system, the structure that we have is not adequate to make the contribution we want. So we experience this incredibly painful contribution gap. Here's the problem for most entrepreneurs. They live in the contribution gap. They never get out of this. And so today, here's my entire goal. I want to get you out of that contribution gap. I want to show you how to step by step, minute by minute, day by day, as you grow your business as an entrepreneur, how you have certainty that you're going to succeed and move forward. This is a framework that we use called the Billionaire Code. And I want you to know something about this. This is the primary framework our company uses. I actually use the Billionaire Code when I'm coaching. I use the Billionaire Code when I'm talking to other people. Hang on, I'm going to turn the fan on. Got a little excited signing on to this. I'm getting myself all worked up. So I had to turn on my overhead fan. So here's what I want you to know about the Billionaire Code. This framework, if you follow it, will help you avoid the primary issue that entrepreneurs are experiencing today. And I want you to know our company talks to hundreds of entrepreneurs a month. We have huge exposure and we get a ton of feedback. And here's what I think is the biggest issue for entrepreneurs today is that we do not have the confidence in what we're doing right now to mash the accelerator pedal to the floor and make it happen. How many of you feel that way? How many of you know you could be doing more, making more happen? How many of you know you're leaving opportunity on the table? And the reason you're not pedal down is you lack the confidence that what you're doing right now is going to be the most important thing to do. And on top of that, here's another issue in the entrepreneurial world today. Far too many entrepreneurs are working their tails off, doing as much as they possibly can, working like crazy, getting up every morning, grinding, doing the work, but they're doing the wrong work. They're working really hard on stuff that never moves their business forward. How many of you, Lisa says, and it's frustrating AF. Oh, crud, was I not supposed to cuss? Dang it, sorry, because she said family show. Here's what I want you to know. For a lot of entrepreneurs, we are working like crazy on stuff that doesn't move the business forward. How many of you have been there? How many of you have been there where you did a project, you did a process, you did something in the business, you crushed it, and then when you looked at your results, you got crickets? It's one of the most frustrating conditions that an entrepreneur can be in. Matt says, I'm literally living that right now. I got a whole bunch of yeses over here, burned out by this. It's agony. Okay. I got to get in here. I only have a limited amount of time left. Let's jump in here. The Billionaire Code are the 9 levels that you go through from 0 to $100 million. Like I told you, I'm going to give this to you at the end of the presentation. Write down notes of how this inspires you, but I want you to know you're going to get the entire matrix at the end. So let's start. The first level of the Billionaire Code, going from 0 to 40,000, is called Seeker. But before that, here's what happens. A human being somewhere in the world decides they're not going to be part of the crowd. They say, I want to do more. I want to be more. I'm hearing the call of contribution and I can't make it go away. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to expose myself to the vulnerability. I'm going to stand up and become a commodity called an entrepreneur. How many of you remember doing that in your lives? How many of you know that feeling? The first step we take is we get onto the Billionaire Code and we are seekers. The seeker is the first level. You're working part-time, the annual revenue. Now, all of these numbers are pre-COVID-19 numbers. So before this major crisis, there was 29 million businesses in the United States. 16 million of them, over half of the businesses in the United States, are under $40,000. Your time at Seeker is you're dabbling. You're not really putting all your time into the right things in the business. The fallback question is, how do I stop pressure and noise in my life? Your biggest need is habits, routine, daily planning, setting goals and knocking them down, taking care of yourself, self-care. All of those are crucially important at the Seeker level because you are 100% of the business. The better we take care of you, the better you're set up for success, the better the business is going to be. To graduate, you need to understand who you want to serve. And if you graduate Seeker, you go to Starter. Now, Starter is the second level of the Billionaire Code. This is $40,000 to $100,000 in revenue. In the United States, there's 6 million. Combine the last two slides, 16 million and 6 million, 22 million businesses out of 29 million are under $100,000. I just want you to know, anyone who is on this call who's over 100K, you are in the top 7 million out of 29 million businesses in the United States prior to the crisis. Now, at this point, still your time is part-time. The fallback question here is, what is wrong with me? You're making enough money to feel better, but it just isn't scaling. It's not growing. And here's usually why. The biggest need at Starter is market and avatar clarity. You have to own your avatar, know everything about them, know them better than they know themselves, know them better than anybody in the world. And if you do, what will happen is you'll start selling consistently. To graduate from Starter and into Promoter, you start selling consistently. At Promoter, this is where you're working full-time. In fact, if you were dabbling in the last one and working part-time, Promoter feels like a lot. It's 100 to 300,000. How many of you are at 100 to 300K? Show me in the chat. I want to know. In the United States, there's 1.7 million promoters. This is where your time is now, full time. You are working like crazy. Your fallback question is, how do I get ahead? How do I do more? How do I be more? Because at 1 to 300, you have a taste of success. And you know what everybody wants at the 1 to 300 level? We want to hit 1 million. The biggest need here is to leverage your lead generation. How do you get leverage on lining up the right person in front of you, right? You have avatar clarity. Now we need to line up the right person in front of you and then be able to sell over and over and over again. And that's how you graduate. You graduate Promoter by generating leads and converting consistently. Does this make sense to everybody? So as you go through this, when you leave Promoter and you go from 100 to 300K, you enter into where we're now aiming at what Russell calls the 2 comma club. Builder. Now, in the previous level, you were working full-time. If you graduate to Builder, 300,000 to 1 million, this is where you're now working overtime. There's actually 1.9 million builders in the United States. And I just want to show you 1.7 million promoters, 1.9 million builders. That's because this 300 to 1 million range is where a ton of companies stall out and die. This is where doctors, attorneys, dentists, professional service companies, taxes, accounting, all of those types of things, they make enough money to get to the 300 to 1 million, and then they never expand, they never grow, they just stay there. It drives me crazy. I want to see every business growing. I can't stand it when an entrepreneur treats a business like a job, but if it works for them, that's okay. I help people who are swimming towards me. I work with the people who want to scale empires. And so the time here when you're at Builder is overtime. And you know what? If you meet an attorney, an accountant, a tax person, or a professional service person of any kind who has a $300,000 to $1 million business, you can just know they're working overtime. A friend of my daughter's has her father is an attorney, and he works every single Sunday. He's in this range, he's in overtime, and he's stuck. Why? The fallback question here is, how do I get further ahead? How do I make this business help me get further ahead? Because you're still driving most of it at this point. The biggest need is now to leverage sales, not just leverage lead generation, but start getting sales coming in like crazy. And the graduate here, now this is big. This is where most entrepreneurs fall down. This is where most entrepreneurs get stuck. You have to build systems and processes around what you do well. So what is it that you do for the business? Systems and processes around what you do well. And if you do that, you graduate Builder and you join the 2 comma club. By the way, Chad, congratulations on receiving your award. We've got a couple of them around here somewhere, and we're waiting for our third. I think it's taken Russell a little bit longer because so many people are applying for it, which is amazing. So the next one, Builder. So you go from 300,000 to 1 million and you get into Operator. Now everything changes at Operator. At 1 to 3 million, you definitively start shifting how you're running this business. And at Operator, you're now delegating your time. You no longer are working overtime. You need to start delegating time as fast as you possibly can. Your annual revenue is 1 to 3 million. There are only 700,000 in the United States. The fallback question goes from me to we. Now, I want everyone to really let this sink in. When you hit 1 million in revenue, you must shift how you're running the business. It goes from everything being driven by you to everything being driven by your team. So the fallback question is, how does my team get me ahead? Not how do I get myself ahead? How does my team get me ahead? How do they help me? How do they help me amplify? How do they help me do things? How do they help me move forward? And the biggest need is to scale consistent delivery. And now this is big. In the previous level, we built process and system around what you do well. Now we need to build a team and train them to do what you do well. Does this make sense? You're building the processes, now you're building the team. If you do that, you'll go from 1 to 3 million, and then you get to where it's really fun. Now this is exciting times. 3 to 10 million. This is a leader business. Now in leader, you're 3 to 10 million. There's only 300,000 in the United States. Your time is now not just delegating time, you're delegating success. That's a huge shift. In fact, what that means is rather than telling somebody what to do, you're telling them the outcome you want and they're getting it done for you. You must make this change at 1 to 3 million, or sorry, 3 to 10 million. This is how the business grows. The fallback question is, how does my team get ahead? Did you see the shift? Massive change from how does my team get me ahead to how does my team get ahead? The shift. Oh, wait, did you guys lose audio? Sorry about that. I'm going to go back in just a couple seconds. I think I actually tapped that by accident. Sorry. So at this level of growth, your level of growth from 3 million on is all about your ability to lead, grow, and manage a team. It is no longer about what you can do. It's about what you can all do together. And this is why so many entrepreneurs don't go past this, because they don't delegate success. They try and do everything themselves. You have to start asking the question, how does my team get ahead? How do I support them? The biggest need is to scale a team to consistently deliver the same product over and over again. And to graduate, you recruit and develop a leadership team. This is how it works. When you recruit and develop a leadership team, you can go to where I think most entrepreneurs actually start having the time of their lives. Owner. I'm going to ask a simple question of everybody here. How many of you would feel, or how many of you feel like when it comes to your thinking process, you are a strategic thinker? How many of you would say, hands up, yes, I'm a strategic thinker? In fact, how many of you would rather have a strategic conversation over a tactical conversation any day of the week? Well, here's what I want you to know about this next level owner. It's important for us to look at this. At owner, when you have a $10 to $30 million business, 100% of your team conversations are going to be strategic. You're meeting with other leaders within your organization. You're now having 50,000 foot level conversations, 20,000 foot level conversations all the time. This is where strategy reigns. I love running $10 to $30 million businesses. It may be my favorite stage of growth. This is where there's only 100,000 in the United States. When it comes to time, in the previous level, we were just learning how to delegate success. Now you have to give up autonomy of time. You actually let your team tell you what you should do. The fallback question is, how does my team get even further ahead? The biggest need is to scale communication and decision-making over a larger population of people. And to graduate owner, you create multiple levels of leadership. That multiple levels of leadership is where you get to be massively strategic every single day. Is this exciting for everybody? I want you all to just be feeling this, to be seeing this, to be knowing that there can be certainty as to how we grow our businesses. Now, I want to just pause and say something really quick. I know I'm getting short on time. Thanks for the reminders, Carlos. I really appreciate it. Here's something I want you to know about the Billionaire Code. You know that saying, what got you here won't get you there? Well, here's something I want you to know about this framework. What got you here will kill you moving forward. It will crush you. It will hold you back. It will have you cortisoled out. You will be feeling terrible. It's horrible. Here's why. Each one of these changes is an absolute behavioral change. You have to go from working overtime to delegating your time, to delegating success, to giving up your autonomy of time. So our behavioral change as entrepreneurs is absolute and constant throughout our lives. So when entrepreneurs tell me stuff like, I just want everything to stay the same, I tell them you're in the wrong business. Things do not stay the same for us. In fact, we have to grow at every single level of leadership in order to not just have the business we want, but to run it. I always tell entrepreneurs, are you ready for this? Like, this is one to write down. If you don't have the business you want, you haven't become the person who can run it yet. Does that sting a little? If it does, it's kind of meant to. Oh, look, there's my kids sharing stuff with me. So let's go from owner to investor. I'm going to say it again, Tyler. If you don't have the business you want, you haven't become the person who can run it yet. That is absolute. That's just how it works. So now let's finish investor and owner. So now investor, 30 to 100 mil. This is an exciting time. There's only 70,000 in the United States. This is where each person working for you now is running a business close to the same size of business you were just running. Like, there is no relief for us as entrepreneurs. If we're going to go up the Billionaire Code, we are constantly changing, constantly shifting, constantly learning and overcoming. Your time here is now you have to turn around and coach your team to maximize your return on time. Your fallback question is, how do we help others get ahead? At 30 to 100 million, it's about joint ventures and bringing the right people on it and making things happen in the world. Your biggest need is scalable investment management and tracking systems. I always get questions about that, so I'll answer them for you because I know they're in your heads. It's like scalable investment management and tracking systems. At this size, you need to have the right data to understand the hundreds of decisions you're making on a monthly and weekly basis. We have a client, his name's Brent Polson. He runs a business. It's about $45–50 million. He's now looking at buying a huge campus with 7 or 8 buildings to move his business from one place to another. You know what he needs? Investment management and tracking systems to make that decision. To graduate from here, you don't grow a leadership team. We already did that. You don't grow multiple layers of leadership. We already did that. You grow a leadership development system, because as your business scales, the biggest deficit you will have is people who can lead your way, people who can lead and maintain your culture, people who can lead and get the results you want. Now, if you do these things, you get to one of the most exciting levels we have. We call it entrepreneur. This is where there's $100 million plus in revenue. There's only 22,393 of these in the United States. As of 2 years ago, there's a lot less today. Your time you invest and you give away leverage time. You know, so many entrepreneurs want to grow a legacy. This is where you do it. Your fallback question is, how do we help everyone? This is the time to ask it. The biggest need is to scale your influence and your contribution, and to graduate from entrepreneur, you grow your legacy. Let's look at it all together. This is the path to growing your business as an entrepreneur. This is a path to getting to 9 figures. And if you can get to 9, you can get to 10. I've helped entrepreneurs go from nothing to tens of millions, go from 7 figures to 8 figures, go from 8 figures to 9. And yes, I've helped a few go from 9 figures to 10 and have billion-dollar companies and even create billion-dollar net worth. This is the path to get there. And as you climb the billionaire code, your behavioral change is what's going to get you there faster, and your ability to lead people is what's going to make it happen. There's 4 major transitions here. I want you to see them. There's the full-time, where you go from part-time in your business to making it happen. There's leverage time, where you must start to leverage your time and get help. There's buying your time, where you're aggressively buying as much as your time back so that you can get to the place where you're an entrepreneur at $100 million plus, and that is where you grow your legacy. And I want to make a very purposeful observation here for all of you. Do you see how grow your legacy is all the way in the lower right-hand corner? That's where it should be. Far too many entrepreneurs are trying to work on legacy projects before they've ever run a business. I don't think we should do that. I think we should go out and run massive businesses, and then everybody will care about our legacy project. This is how it should be done. And when you're at 100 million, the legacy project, you don't have to go beg for money for your charity. You can just fund that sucker. That's how we should do it. Here's a very deep held belief I have is entrepreneurs are terrible at begging for money. Go make a whole bunch of money and fund the project you want. And so this is what happens as you go up the billionaire code, like I've just explained to you. If all of you are feeling this call of contribution, where on a daily basis, you feel that voice telling you, you should do more, you can be more, you can make more happen, you can make the world a better place, then I want you to know something. As you go up the billionaire code, what will happen is we will shrink that infrastructure. We will grow that infrastructure. We will shrink the contribution gap. We will make certain that you as entrepreneurs can move forward in the way that you should. And I actually went so fast, I have a couple minutes left. I'm going to share one more framework with everybody. And this is one of the most foundational frameworks we have. I don't have slides with it because I didn't know I was going to have enough time, but it's easy enough to explain verbally. It's a 4-step process. Thank you, Luke. 4-step process. We call it the contribution equation. When I studied successful people throughout history, I saw this framework over and over and over again. And it's this 4 steps that every successful person I've ever seen has been able to go through in order to be successful. The first step of the contribution equation, now all of you, if you're writing stuff down, write this down. The first step is to lower the pressure and noise in your life. Here's the challenge in the entrepreneurial world today. Too many entrepreneurs want to do more, be more, make stuff happen, and they're just adding more noise, more pressure to their lives. If you want to go get into momentum like crazy, lower the noise in your life. Look at the people, the places and things in your life that are not giving you momentum. This is binary. Anything that's not giving you momentum is taking it away. I want to help you improve your entire life. Go out and get rid of all the things that are causing noise. Lower the pressure and noise in your life like crazy. Because here's what will happen. If you lower the pressure and noise in your life, you'll start to see what you need. You'll start to understand yourself better. You'll start to understand what is going on for you. You'll start to understand your personality even better. When there's lower noise, you'll see the opportunity. And when you lower the pressure and noise in your life, the second step is to increase the protection and support. Ask for protection and support. By the way, just confirm this for me in the chat. I have this concept called the entrepreneur's dilemma. We need far more help than the average person to get to what we really want to do. But any request for help leaves us feeling vulnerable and exposed. How many of you feel that? How many of you know asking for help is brutal? I know it is for me. It's usually because a lot of us have a long history of not getting the help that we need because the systems in the world are set up for communicators, coordinators, and caretakers, not for evolutionary hunters. In fact, the systems in the world like to hold evolutionary hunters in place. We want to go change everything. They want to keep it the same. And so here's what we need to understand is that lowering pressure and noise is the first step so that we can have the vulnerability and we can show up in a way where we can increase protection and support and get the help we need. And if you lower the pressure and noise in your life and you increase the protection and support, here's something amazing that'll happen. Your strengths and abilities in the world will just go up. They will get better. If you lower the noise and get more help, you will shockingly see how much you are really capable of. You will be better at what you're doing already. You will see that you are more capable, more able to perform than you ever have been just from lowering the noise and increasing protection and support. And if you do that, if you lower the noise, increase protection and support, and your strengths and abilities show, you will be able to go out and make your greatest contribution. So the 4 steps are simple. Lower pressure and noise in your life. Ask for protection and support. Let your strengths and abilities show up and go make your greatest contribution. And I want to make something clear. When I talk about making your greatest contribution, I am not saying go start a charity. See, I think that's a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs believe. I think you running a successful business, building a team, growing an empire, and changing the world is the most intense contribution entrepreneurs ever make. And so when I say make your greatest contribution, here's how I look at it. In our world today, capital, money flows to the greatest contribution. The people who are making the biggest contribution are the ones getting the biggest checks. And so when I say go make your greatest contribution, here's what I mean. I mean, build a movement, build a team, grow your business, go change the world, make all the impact you can, and make a massive income so that you can prove you have made an incredible contribution on this planet, because that is who we are. We were put here to make a contribution. We were put here to be exactly that. That's why we all hear the desire for contribution going up. That's why we all feel this. And that's why we all should follow the contribution equation and go make as much of a contribution as we possibly can while we stay in momentum. Now, I promised you that I would make sure that you guys all got a copy of the Billionaire Code Matrix. Go to billionairecode.com, answer a few questions from my team. It's really simple, billionairecode.com. We will help you confirm exactly where you are on the Billionaire Code, understand exactly what your business needs next, create a plan with the next steps to get there. You will get the exact matrix that I shared, only there's a lot more rows on it, so you get some more detail, and you can react to it at a higher level. And I think with that, Carlos, I brought this in 1 minute before I was supposed to. So I just want everyone to see, like, when I say on time, I can drop it in right on time. And then what did you say? I think Carlos gave me some directions here. I think I'm supposed to stop sharing my screen. So did everybody get this? Billionairecode.com. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back to DashClicks.
Wow. Let me just start with that. Guys, go right now. Let's take a pause really quick. Okay, let's take a 30-second pause. I want everybody to open up their tabs really quick. So that means take your finger, put it on your mouse, and let's go open up a new tab really quick, okay? I want everybody to please go to the billionairecode.com. Billionairecode.com. Go get that information right now, guys, okay? Because I was literally watching this entire thing happening. You could probably see my comments. I'm like, yes, go, insane, crazy. Because it's all, life is really about momentum, and you're spot on, brother. Everything you said is spot on. So thank you so much. Alex, just repeat, because a lot of people are coming in and out. Where can they find you? Talk about your podcast really quick. I'll give you another minute. Tell them where to go, where to click.
You got it, Chad. So if somebody can type this in for me, it'd be awesome. So get the Billionaire Code Matrix by going to billionairecode.com, and then the Momentum Podcast, where I cover these concepts and a lot more. You can go to momentumpodcast.com, and I would love it if you were a subscriber. If you like the podcast, leave us a rating and review. We're a little low on those right now. I've got kind of a run to see how many I can get. And Chad, dude, I just want to thank you, man. This was, it's interesting doing these distance events because you don't really get to see the audience. You know, you don't like you normally would. But here's something I want everyone here to know. I felt you. Like I felt this today. There is some intense entrepreneurs in this audience. I know there's hundreds of you here. Like Chad has clearly tried to take over the internet for today, and I think he's doing a pretty dang good job of it. And so I just want to thank you for involving me, man. This was awesome. I can feel all of you, and I'm excited for you.
Guys, thank you so much. Alex, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, brother. We look forward to having you on future events.
Thank you.
Let's give Alex one round of applause. Say Alex in the chat. Alex in the chat, make some noise for him before he goes out. Alex in the chat, chat goes crazy. You guys got to make him feel it. Yes.
Dude, it's like a ticker tape. This is,
I love it.
Thank you so much, everybody. What an amazing event, and what so well set up and so well organized. You guys are in for a treat.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Alex. All right, guys.